Series 2 has been released and the Matthew Schaefer chase has begun. You're listening to the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 70, the Hockey Card Haven podcast, a weekly show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. Just a reminder, you can check out the podcast and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, as well as up on Apple Podcasts. And you can also find the show and subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search up Hockey Card Haven podcast and you'll find it there. I'm your host, Mike Distefano. Got Anthony Santini with me as my co-host. And it's a big week in the hobby, Anth. Series 2 came out yesterday. Super busy day, which is why we ended up recording on Thursday. I was breaking a whole case and a bunch of work got in the way, but I'm glad that we're able to get up on the pod here and talk. And now that we're doing it on Thursday, we can actually kind of dissect Series 2 and talk a little bit about everything that went into release, flagship, the new inserts, some of the quality control, some of the big young gun chases, surprises. And everything else that kind of comes into our thoughts when it comes to the release of flagship. So excited to get into today's show. We also got the NHL Trade deadline in about 24 hours, a little less than 24 hours from the recording of this podcast. We've seen some big trades go down already. How can that impact the hobby? So we'll have that chat too. So fun show booked up today, but let's get into that flagship conversation, Anthony. Always love ripping flagship. You get your hands on any boxes yet or what?
So I did have 2 reserved, but I'm still waiting to hear back. I was supposed to go and pick some up yesterday. Kind of a thing that me and Eric do every year, go pick up a box on release near my birthday and rip a hobby box. But I don't know, I back order or something. He didn't have it. I don't know. Maybe I guess people in front of me maybe bought a little bit more, and I don't know, but I'm just kind of hoping that I could get my hands on it this week because I'm having serious FOMO right now. I mean, I don't know if you know, I don't rip a lot of boxes. Like the last box that I ripped was a Macklin Celebrini hobby box last year at this time when it came out. So I haven't ripped a box in a year. So I thought that I was going to be ripping last night, chasing some Schaefer. A couple of my buddies actually hit the Schaefer too. They were texting me last night. So I got FOMO right now.
So I dug into, I ripped a case. We're doing case breaks now. I'm doing case breaks with Dolly's Niagara. So check us out on Whatnot. We're doing some case breaks, which is a lot of fun. So I got to rip a case last night for the break. And I also did one personal box as well. I got 2 more on order. I got to go pick up from my LCS as well. But we did get 2 Schaefers in the case, 2 Schaefers, couple Misas as well. It was a pretty good case overall, actually. We ended up with a 101 printing plate, which is nice. Ended up with one of the silver Young Gun Renewed Outbursts, the Brent Burns one. So, yeah, we had a couple of good I thought it was actually a pretty solid case. When you can get a couple of Schaefers in one, you're happy you get 2 of the chase card. There's 2 Misas as well. So, overall, it was actually a really good case, really fun rip. There's a couple new inserts that I really enjoy. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Boomtown inserts that are floating out there, but I really think that those are sweet. The one thing that I do wish about Upper Deck, sometimes they have really cool inserts, and I get it. It's flagship. It's more so, so that the kids can collect it. It's a lower end product, but I look at them I'm like, man, like these would be awesome if they were short printed like standalones. Like the Boomtown. The way that they've got the shine to it almost gives off like a Color Blast kind of feel from like Prism. And I think that it would be just kind of a really cool insert if it was a little more shorter printed. I mean, I usually always have that thought with a couple of them. I don't like the slaps. I don't know if you've seen the slaps. That insert. I think that's I don't know. That's probably the dumbest one that they've had in a while. I don't think that has to make its way to Series 2 next year.
Yeah, I think too, even we kind of had that conversation, remember last year with the Young Guns Renewed, where we said like if it was just kind of a standalone or maybe a much more short printed card, like these Young Guns Renewed would be a pretty sweet card to have. I mean, there was a pretty cool card of the Donald Trump Barkov that I think is one in every like 6,000 cases, and it's not even numbered, which is just awesome. But yeah, I'm looking at the Boomtowns right now. I mean, they look pretty sweet. That Radko Gudis one, I think that's Brandon Tanev. He's just
Pull it up,
crushing.
pull it up quick. Pull it up. Do the share the screen. I'll pull it up here. I should have had it pulled up. That's my bad, people. I
Let's see.
was gonna grab it, but yeah, if you want to share the screen, just let those who are watching who haven't dug into any Series 2 yet could kind of get a glimpse of what we're talking about here. Yeah, so there it is. If you want to scroll in a little bit, just zoom in so we can get a good look at these Boomtowns. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. I like them. I thought that was a really quality new insert that that Upper Deck has. It's obviously guys who are big hitters, right? Some of your top hitters in the world. Like last year, it's like their Bang. They didn't have Bang this year. They called it Boomtown, and it was really fun getting to every time we hit one, be like Boomtown. Oh, yeah. Catchphrase. It was cool. So I do like that insert. It's a cool one. I think they should keep that one around. Definitely a lot better than Bang from last year. Yeah. So you get like,
look at that. Who is that? Just 90. Is that Yuri Kulich just getting absolutely crushed by Matthew Olivier? A helmet on tilt and everything. That is number 90. I think Kulich. Oh man.
Could be. But that was a really cool insert. I did like the Boomtowns, but the slaps, those can go. Those absolutely can go elsewhere. Do not care much for the slaps. So we did get a Matthew Schaefer slaps rookie insert part of the box yesterday, which I think sells for like $15-20. So wow. Not bad. Overall, I would say pretty good quality control. I don't know what you've heard about the quality control of the boxes, but the case that we had seemed to be like, cut pretty well, crisp corners, well centered. Like the two Schaefers that I pulled, I took a good look at them. I think they're gradable, both of them. For me, I don't know what everyone else's experience was with Series 2, but I actually thought that the quality control was pretty solid with this year's product.
Yeah, from what I heard too, it sounds like everything is pretty good. I mean, even for the Demidov for Series 1, it sounded like everyone said they kind of had the quality control down. And I mean, like you said, the two that you pulled looked pretty good. A couple of my buddies that pulled it, I know one of them is actually going to be sending it this week to PSA, which is pretty sweet because I know he's trying to see how quick he could get that back. But I mean,
like 3-month turnaround. That's always the question. Like, what if you pulled one? So you got one on back order. I'm probably going to open up another box the next couple of days. Like, are you selling it, or would you rather try and grade it? Like, if it's a gradable copy, right? A gradable copy. Are you the guy to try and flip it quick while the prices are still high for this? And I think we checked. They're going between like $300 and $400 right now for a Matthew Schaefer. Would you rather take that if you get an offer for, let's say, right in the middle, $350 cash offer if you pull one tomorrow, or if it looks clean, like you got a good chance to gem it, would you take the chance and send it off?
Yeah, I don't think so. I would probably just wait for Matthew Schaefer's market to come down a little bit. I mean, pleasantly surprised to see on release day. I mean, we're kind of accustomed to it now, but the big Chase Young Gun is one of the most expensive. And I thought that his stuff at $350, $400 for a raw blows it out of the water. So if I were to pull it, I think I'd have to sell it. I mean, even if you grab a box for $170, whatever it is, plus tax, and you're able to sell it for $350, like that's pretty good. Obviously exhilarating to pull it, make a little bit of money there. I don't think I would hold it even if it was like crispy, because 6 months from now when PSA decides to return my cards, I don't think that this card's going to be even close to $350. I know this is something,
but if it's 10, but feel good about 10. I mean, you could definitely get more than $350 for it. Possibly, I guess we don't know that for fact, but like if you have long-term belief in Matthew Schaefer, and this guy's doing unbelievable things, like Bobby Orr level numbers, like Cale Makar level numbers. I mean, Makar PSA 10 goes for what? $700. I mean, Schaefer.
Oh, more than that. They're up to like 1,000 now.
There you go, $1,000. So I mean, if you think Schaefer can get up into that territory and be that electric of a player, if you send that bad boy away and the Islanders do something in the postseason, you could flip that and like as a PSA 10 first to market. Like if you're sending now and you're trying to get first to market, you might be able to get $800 for it, $800 to $1,000 for it. So it might not be a terrible gamble. I'm just saying.
I mean, I do like it, depending on obviously it would have to 10, but like you said too, with Schaefer being in Makar level numbers, it's pretty crazy. And I mean, I want to kind of ask you too if you think it's healthy for the hobby for someone like Matthew Schaefer that hasn't really proven. Obviously we've seen that he is so talented, but these prices that we're seeing, especially on release day, like $3,100 for a Matthew Schaefer Young Guns exclusive, that is pretty parallel to what a Kale Makar Young Guns exclusive goes for, too, like in that $3,000 range for a raw. So I kind of wanted to ask you, what do you think? Do you think it's healthy for the hobby, for these new kids on the block, kind of going for exactly what proven NHLers are going for?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I ultimately I obviously think if I had to put my money somewhere, it would be in Kale Makar over Matthew Schaefer. Now he's doing some great things, but like, is he eventually it's going to get compared to Schaefer? Right now, he's a new kid on the block, right? The pop counts are super low. Obviously, people still ripping into this product, but eventually those numbers are going to taper off, right? Like there's no other like even raw Makar's not going for $400 raw at this point, so there's no other defenseman that's even in that stratosphere. They shouldn't be going for Makar. Even if you could get 4 for a raw Makar, I mean, you're laughing if you can get that right now for Schaefer, because I'd imagine those numbers are going to drop. Now if you're grading it, maybe a different situation, but if you got it raw and you plan on keeping it, or it doesn't look like a copy that could 10, I'd move off that thing right away, and you can rebuy it in the summer. Rebuy in the summer when it goes down. I mean, remember what you were buying Macklin Celebrinis for last summer? There wasn't this much hype over Celebrini when it broke. There was still hype, but not as much as it is now. Like you could get it for $150, when it broke last summer, when he, when you're first ripping into it, I think it was $150 to $200 thereabouts last year when you opened up Celebrini, dropped to about, I don't know, $1.25, $100 sometimes you could find a Celebrini raw over summer, and then it just exploded from there. So again, Matthew Schaefer, I'd hold off. I certainly wouldn't be buying Schaefer Young Guns right now. That's for certainty, but it's a fun chase. It's a good chase. If you pull one, it's definitely worth the box. So that's always nice. If you can pull the top Young Gun and it doubles the price of the box, I think that's when you're in a good spot for a product, and seems to be where we're at for Matthew Schaefer. So excited about that. Did you see though the error on Matthew Schaefer's card though? By the way,
no,
yeah,
I didn't see it.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, the quality control in terms of cutting, solid. In terms of spelling Schaefer's name properly, not.
No.
Oh,
No.
dude, yeah, you didn't see this. Let me know
You're
when you see it. Just let me know when you see it. Let me know when you see it. Let me know. Figure it out. When you see it.
Double F, no.
Double F. Yes, the
You're
double F.
kidding me.
Double F. Right there. Schaefer scored his first goal for the Islanders. They double F'd up Matthew Schaefer's name. Oh, man. So it's an error card now, too, on top of all. It's an error card for Matthew Schaefer's Young Gun. They misspelt the man's name. How does that happen, Upper Deck? How does that happen? He's your big chase. Think you would have went through that thing with a fine-tooth comb. And how that gets past quality control, I guess, that's a toughie. That's a tough one for Upper Deck to have to swallow. Because that's on all of them. It's on all the cases. It's on all of the boxes out there. Every pack that pulls one, it's got that double F. So they double F'd up. That's for sure. Maybe that'll be the title of the podcast. Upper Deck double F. Schaefer release. No, I don't think they effed it up though. I think they did very well. I think they'd be happy with the release. I think a lot of people ripped into Flagship yesterday. Any other general thoughts on the product before we kind of dive into the pricing of some of these top Young Guns out there?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was relatively I think that it's relatively affordable too for a hobby box, because we've seen the past 2 years how crazy it was with Connor Bedard and that whole fiasco of needing to pre-order the series before or extended series, and it was just crazy. So I was happy to see that majority of people, cough cough, not myself, were able to get their hands on a hobby box at a relatively good price. I think too, I'm liking some of the inserts, like you said, Boomtown, and I know Slaps isn't really the best, but some of the inserts that they're starting to put into boxes, I thought Bootleg last series was great,
Yeah.
and I think they're doing a really good job with that. But the one thing
They've got the
that is
incarnations this year. I don't know if you saw any of those. The incarnations. Get a chance. Let me see what they are. Go on. I'll grab them.
yeah, pull those up when you can. But I don't know if you've seen, and I'm sure you could pull this up after too, another Young Gun achievement of 25-26 Young Gun. So as I was searching up the Cale Makars, there's a Connor McDavid one too. Like, how many retro or achievement Young Guns are Upper Deck going to make of the same players? If we were to search up, I think Connor McDavid has like 5 different Young Gun parallels from different years across the board. And it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're a new collector, oh, those are pretty sweet too.
Yeah,
Those are really nice.
Yeah, they're nice little cards here. This one looks
Really
very
centering,
OC,
though.
though. Wow, the centering is brutal on that card. I will say, maybe the quality control wasn't the greatest for Series 2. I did look at Demidov actually. Only a 32% gem rate on Demidov's Young Gun. So
Yeah.
maybe quality control wasn't as good as we all thought for
Yeah.
for Series 1. Maybe Series 2. Maybe I got lucky with a good case, but yeah, those are the incarnations. Those are case hits. Really tough to pull too.
No, sweet. I mean, that OC is just brutal. But if you try and pull up the Cale Makar Young Guns achievement, there's a Connor McDavid one as well. If you want to pull that up,
Yeah,
I don't understand why Upper Deck is continuing to create Young Guns retros, Young Guns renewed, Young Guns achievements. Like, it is almost impossible for someone new in the hobby to look at a card. Even, I mention it all the time. I bring my buddies to shows and stuff, and I say, like, all right, like, this is the McDavid Young Gun. Oh, one on Instagram for like $80. And there's like the retro, the achievement, the renewed. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's not his rookie, but it is like a short print. And it's just making things really confusing.
Yeah. So this is the one you're talking about?
Yeah, like the Connor McDavid, I guess, achievement. Obviously, like, it's a great looking card. It's sweet. It looks, obviously, would be nice to have, but we've seen like 5 or 6
for sure. At least with the renewed, like the graffiti behind it, it was gimmicky, and you could probably, suffice. Okay, maybe this isn't his natural rookie card. Looks like this could be some sort of, gimmick or insert of some kind. This looks like it could be, like it's got Young Guns. It's the exact same photo, pretty much, from his actual Young Guns picture back in the day. He's not wearing the C, so it's like this could fool somebody who's new to the hobby. Yeah, I'm not I don't love the achievement Young Guns either, and they're doing this of multiple players. Pretty much every top players now has one, like Makar and Matthews had one last year for the achievements. So yeah, I'm not a big lover of it either. I don't think they're going to stop doing it. There must be enough people who are definitely trying to because this is an EPAC thing though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this stuff's on EPAC. So I don't think this came out in Series 2. I think this was from Series 1, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't think EPAC Series 2 drops yet. They usually hold back a little bit. But yeah, I'm still not a fan of these ones. Speaking of EPAC, I got to tell. So there is also the $40,000 chase for Matthew Schaefer for his 101 gold outburst. As far as I know, that hasn't been pulled. I don't know if you saw something different, but I have not seen that get publicized yet on the interwebs. But if that thing gets pulled on EPAC, there's going to be a legitimate riot, I think, from collectors. That's the type of stuff where you talk about EPAC versus actual physical cards. Those 101s need to be shipped out as a physical card in the packs. Like, that has to be pack pulled exclusivity. Even any 101, like, let alone the top chase 101, they can't hold that stuff back for repack. I'm sorry. And I just, the fact that we've seen so many of these gold outbursts, like, remember, I think, was it Cooley or Fantilli gold outburst was pulled on EPAC. There's one of them was EPAC, and it's like, that's one of the top chases. What are you doing holding that back from, the actual flagship product itself? That's ridiculous. But that's a conversation for another day here, Anthony. Let's dive into some of the pricing that's been set early on coming off release day. We're about 24 hours after it's been released, and some prices are now starting to settle. We're getting a good little mix of pricing to give us an idea of what this stuff is worth as of now. Again, this stuff usually drops within the week, within a couple of days, realistically, from its open. The more cards that hit the market, right? Supply goes up, demand goes down, and the prices will go down with it. But as of now, Anthony, let's take a look at some of the top Young Gun chases from the set and see what they're going for. You want to start with Matthew Schaefer?
Yeah, so some of the sales that I saw from Matthew Schaefer so far, like you mentioned, $350 to $400 for his Young Guns based on condition. I personally was surprised to see it that high. I mean, even just talking to a couple buddies, I'm sure if we were to do a pre-record pod, my guess would to kind of, be around that $200 mark.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe we did have that conversation a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, and like we said, maybe 250 max.
Right.
Like I didn't see it being for more than that. I believe the first public sale we saw was for $500, and that seemed
I think it was US. I think it was
US,
500
yeah.
US.
Dong Show posted it. That was the first public sale, $500 USD. It was an eBay buy it now, so how much you want to look into that is one thing. But it seems like the market is settling closer into that 350-ish range,
Which I
still
think
seems high. Like, still seems quite high to me. I mean, it's great, right? You open a box, costs you 150 Canadian with taxes, getting about $180. The fact that you can pull a $350 card out of it by pulling the top Young Gun, I think that's good for the hobby.
No, I think it's great. I obviously even seeing a couple of his parallels sell too, like we mentioned before, his Young Guns exclusive sold for $3,100. So that's been pack pulled, that's been sold, confirmed on eBay. I saw that one, and like I said, sold near that Cale Makar range for a Young Guns exclusive, which I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think that Matthew Schaefer is a great player. 3,100, and right there with Cale Makar, I think is a little bit high. But yeah, there it is right there. $3,100, $35, and man, it's a good looking card. I can't even imagine pulling one of those. How hyped up I'd be.
I know.
But $3,100 for a Schaefer
Yeah.
exclusive.
We did pull one exclusive Young Gun in my case yesterday, but it was Hunter Hate. So middling prospects. Not the worst one you could pull, but certainly not Schaefer. Not even the best Minnesota Wild. The Z William would have been pretty sick to pull that. I did pull a Z William in my personal, I will say. But yeah, there was also, I did believe I saw, whoops, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's figure this out. Why are you giving me Demidov? I thought I had Schaefer up here. All right, we'll figure this out. But I think the exclusive teammates card also sold yesterday for Matthew Schaefer and Mark Gatcomb. Did you see the teammates card, by the way? Have you seen it?
Oh, it's such a sweet photo. Just hilarious. Just hilarious.
This is PC. This is PC for me now. I'm gonna find it. It's like, almost like one day I really want to get myself one of the the hot dog Phil Kessel day with the cup cards. That's going to be a PC thing for me. But also the teammates card. Am I spelling Matthew Schaefer's name wrong? Am I pulling an upper deck right now? Why can't I figure this out? Matthew Schaefer exclusive. All right, there we go. Yeah. Oh, 1F. There we go. Ha ha ha. Pull this up. Look at this thing. Oh, the Step Brothers meme.
Oh, sweet.
Unbelievable. Like, just great creativity from these guys. It's the only teammates, actually, that's on the checklist for whatever reason. I was surprised to not see the San Jose Sharks do a teammates with Michael Misa and Sam Dickinson being in the product too. So it's the only teammates out there that's available in Series 2, and they knocked this one out of the park. Unlike, the Michkov one, I don't think there's much love for. Even the Lane Hudson, I don't think it sells for more than $5. The Macklin Celebrini, for obvious reasons, that one and Will Smith seem to be still selling for a good chunk. I actually sold one last week for like $25. I think this one will have a chance to survive as one of those cards that has high demand because great player. Everyone loves Matthew Schaefer, especially right now. But I just think the photo, like that's just a collectible card because of the Step Brothers meme that they're doing here. I think it's awesome. I think that Upper Deck kind of hit it out of the park with this one, this design.
Oh, it's so sweet, so creative, and I even saw on Instagram too, they kinda did a behind the scenes of it as well, where they were all kinda, like, posing for the photo and laughing through it, so really sweet idea. I haven't really been the biggest fan of Young Guns Teammates, but I mean, like you said, this is a card that I just kinda gotta pick up down the road in my collection, but it's one of those things too, like, not very short printed, obviously the Young Guns
No,
Teammate, so maybe if
it's
I
not
do.
as short print as the Young Guns, though.
Yeah, exactly. So if I do want to get one for my collection, probably some sort of parallel, like an Outburst, a clear cut, but
So
really sweet card.
that one I just showed was the exclusive, and it sold
Right.
today for $443 for the exclusive version of that. So,
Holy.
hey, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. We think about it. It's like a ninth of what the actual Young Gun sold for. Maybe it's a little expensive, but it's the only one on the market. So first to
Without
market,
looking, can
usually
you guess the Celebrini Will Smith? January
exclusive?
22nd.
Most
Yep.
recent sale,
Yep, most recent. January 22nd.
650.
468.
Really? Okay. All right. So you're paying the same price. Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith one's the same price as Schaefer and Gatcombe. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's a little expensive at 440. Probably. I assume it'll go down again. An early bird gets the worm. I'd be curious to see what the Celebrini one sold for when it first came out, possibly. But either way, cool little, cool exclusives. What's the clear cut? Has there been sale on a clear cut yet for Matthew Schaefer? Do we got a
There
price on
hasn't been a sale on the clear cut, I don't see, but the first ever sale, like you requested, the Celebrini and Will Smith last year, March 6th, $564. So pretty close.
I am seeing a clear cut sale actually. May have come in after you looked at it, but looks like $2,040 for a clear cut of Matthew Schaefer. One sale I'm seeing on Card Ladder.
Oh, wow.
2040. Yeah. So just for proof. Yeah. So
Look
that's
at
for
that.
Matthew Schaefer clear cut.
Kind of
So
expensive for a Schaefer clear cut, eh? Like it's a little
strong
expensive.
pricing. It's strong
Yeah.
pricing, especially since he's a defenseman. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not running out there and I'm not buying this stuff right on release day. I always don't recommend buying this stuff on release day, but hey, people want to be first to add it to their collection and let people do what they want to do. Go ahead. And the Outburst, think a $1,300 sale on a Young Guns Silver Outburst on Matthew Schaefer as well. Michael Misa was the second best chase for Series 2 here. What type of numbers are we looking at from Michael Misa?
So Michael Misa, his base Young Gun selling for around $100. I saw them as low as $70, as high as $130. And I mean, a little high for him, like most players, obviously on release, but I think he's going to be a great player too. Like when his prices start to come down a little bit, I think he could be a good player. Even one of his best cards that already sold is the red out of 25 red Outburst for $1,200. And I don't know, man, pretty good.
That one,
decent price, pretty decent price.
That's the thing though. Like the raw Young Guns, like they're so I don't want to say overprinted, but there's a large stock of them.
They are overprinted. They're getting over.
Yeah, I mean, what they are. There's a lot of them. Whether or not they're overprinted is a different conversation. But there's a lot of them. So that's the reason why we see these prices typically go down for most players. But the exclusives, the red parallels, the deluxes, the high glosses. I mean, these ones, like it's a small, batch of cards here, and the reds they're numbered to 25, and typically you don't know what to sell them for, right? So if you're first to market, sometimes it's actually savvy to be first to buy one of these exclusives or one of these red Outbursts, because typically I think they're a little underpriced a little bit when the stuff first comes out. So I think at $1,200 actually for a red Young Guns out of 25, I think that's a real solid price for that person to get for Michael Misa. I think $1,200. I think that's actually a pretty solid solid buy at 1,200. You hear me? You got me? You there? No? Is there a delay? You got me? Anth? Oh,
Can you hear
I don't
me?
know. Are we having issues?
Yeah,
I got you.
I must be having some sort of I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Michael Misa. I was just saying the
I can
red
hear you.
outburst, $1,200 seems like a real good steal to me. Easton Cowan, I think, is one of the better players out there. Too much of a delay? Okay, I'll pull you out. We'll see what's going on here. I'll just quickly go into Easton Cowan while Anthony kind of deals with his Wi-Fi situation. But Easton Cowan, Young Guns, I'll be honest with you. I was actually kind of surprised at how low this stuff was selling. And I know Anthony sent me a text and let me know kind of, hey, these stuff are going real cheap. And even he was super surprised at how cheap Easton Cowan Young Guns were selling for. Right now, they're going for only about $30 raw, which really surprised me. I thought that with him being a Montreal or a Toronto Maple Leaf, I thought that he'd be, at least far more coveted than that. There's a lot of hype on him, obviously, coming into the season. Just hasn't really panned out. But I still think at $30, like that might be one of the players, especially if moving forward, the Leafs, I mean, they gave him an opportunity to play on the first line yesterday. I think the rest of the way he'll be given ample opportunity to play in the top six. I think if he could pick up some Easton Cowan pretty cheap, I actually think that he's one of the players who I would consider maybe buying pretty early. And again, more so rather than the raw Young Gun, the base Young Gun, I think I'd be more so intrigued in going after an exclusive or a red or a deluxe and still get it at a decent price. So to me, Easton Cowan is a very interesting player at this moment when it comes to Series 2. And send me a note, send me a text if you can about what's going on with your Wi-Fi. Maybe if you pop back out, pop back in like you did before. Fixing it in a sec. All right, we're back. Anthony's back. Let's get him in here. What's happening? You got me now?
Yeah, we're all good. Terrible time for my dad to be watching a movie, but definitely.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, what type of Wi-Fi you got over there, man? Where someone throws on a movie and all of a sudden just the whole place explodes? What the hell?
You know what? It's going to be fixed next week, though. I could promise you that. A little Amazon order and double extension to the Wi-Fi because I thought I had one, but.
There you go. There you go. I was just getting into
I missed the Easton Cowan chat, though. I was waiting for that all day, man.
I know. I'm not missing out. No, not missing out. Because you sent me a text. Like I was working all day yesterday. I didn't really get to dive into what was going on until after I got off at about 4:00. And you had sent me a note about, I don't know, around noon or so, 1:00. And you're like, guys, these Easton Cowan Young Guns are going pretty cheap. And I think both myself, you, and Brandon are, unofficial third behind-the-scenes member of the podcast, both very surprised at what these were selling for. And, even today, $30, for a Easton Cowan Young Guns seems pretty cheap to me. Just for release day, whether or not he holds as a $30 value long-term remains to be seen. But considering what we see, Michael Misa going for, what we're seeing Matthew Schaefer go for. I think even Axel Sandin Pelika's in like the 30 range. Zeev William is going in the 30 to 40 range. Cowan at $30 seems pretty low.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if Cowan was $30 in the middle of the summer to start the season next year, I could definitely see that. But for release day, I really thought he would be like an $100 Young Gun. I mean, maybe if the Leafs were in a better position in the standings right now, they're not the hottest team during this release. So I think that definitely accounts to it. But
yeah,
it's one of those conversations now, and I was kind of thinking about it driving home too. Like, as long as Easton Cowan does not get traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs, he's playing there next year at the start of the season. He could be one of those guys that when you see some of his short printed Young Guns down the road in the summer, like, you gotta nab him up. Like $30 for a Young Gun on release day. I saw a deluxe sold, the deluxe Young Gun out of $250 sold for $70. So that would pretty much put, based on my estimation, there wasn't any sales, a Young Gun exclusive around $225-ish. Like, I can't really see it getting too crazy.
If you see that sticker, well, if you see that stickered on a card this weekend, we're going to be at the Collecticon show in Hamilton. If you see a Cowan exclusive stickered at $225, you picking it up?
100. I honestly think even at like $250, I would probably pick it up.
All right.
I was looking at, and I know we're going to get into it too, but SWS Cards, if you know Sam on Instagram, if you saw it, actually pulled in his first case an Easton Cowan high gloss. And I was like, oh my God, this thing must be like bonkers what he's going to ask for this thing, like 5K plus. This was like one of my initial first time I opened up Instagram, ending the day. And he actually posted it for sale with a $2,500 price tag. And I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm kind of doing a double take on any of the Easton Cowan sales because, like, am I second guessing myself? Is this not pretty cheap for the Maple Leafs top prospect?
Well, it depends what that guy's gonna be. Like, I just think that there's a lot of. I don't think $2,500 is actually like that bad of a price. I think $2,500 is probably accurate. I think $5,000's a little high. I think 2,500 sounds about right. I'm just looking to see right now what some other high glosses have gone for. Like Matthew Schaefer, who's a similarly skilled prospect, not in Toronto, but his high gloss sold yesterday for $1,000. There's a Cutter Gauthier PSA 9 that sold for $2,600. So I would imagine Cutter Gauthier, like if his market's at about $2,500 for a Gauthier, I think it probably, you're going to see Easton Cowan come in below that. So I don't think 2,500 is a bad number to put it at. I think it probably sells for closer to the $2,000 mark, though.
And even at $2,000, I think that it's the conversation that you need to have on release day. Like, and I know I heard you talking about it with Michael Misa that sure, there's so many, base Young Guns printed, but if you could get some of these low numbered parallels on release day for a half decent price, I mean, just the fact of owning them on release day, usually a little bit better condition, obviously pack pulled. They haven't really been kicking around for a year or whatever it's been, but Easton Cowan has definitely raised my eyebrows because I think this summer, as long as these prices kind of stay where they're at, I wouldn't even mind paying like $20 for his Young Guns Raw, 25 for his Young Guns Raw. And like I said, if my calculations are right, $200 to $250 for an exclusive is pretty good.
Yeah, no, the 10x multiplier, as you say, makes it sound pretty solid in pricing there. But again, I think you can also just look at Matthew Knies, as another example where, he came out and his prices came down in the summer, and I was picking up Matthew Knies a couple years ago, like before the start of last season. You could get Matthew Knies Young Guns for $20-$25 all day long. And then he obviously had a great year last season, and he signed that big extension, and all of a sudden, it's a $60 card now. You could get in a similar situation with Cowan, where it comes out, there's some hype, and then it dies down over the summer. You pick him up in the $15 to $20 range, and then he gets going next year. And now all of a sudden, you're at Expo. He scores 2 goals on Friday night. Saturday, you're seeing $60 stickers on Easton Cowan. Very conceivable for the market he plays in and the opportunity that he could end up with, especially if the Maple Leafs are going in kind of seller mode. He's going to have more opportunity the rest of the way and into next year to kind of solidify himself as a top piece of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, yeah, those are kind of the top, some of the top players. I know the Ivan Demidov canvas is also available in the product. Looks like there's a $300 sale on his canvas. So there's the price on the Demidov canvas. Anything else in terms of pricing that kind of stood out to you that you saw? Any good values? Anything way overpriced? Anything else kind of stick out to you?
I definitely think the major talking points is Schaefer, obviously healthy for the hobby. Good to see his prices are high. I think that they're going to come down a little bit, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that. And obviously Cowan's the number one indicator that, it could be a good time to buy him. And obviously the Leafs market is down. So that is definitely my focus for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I think was it Misa Red you said sold for $1,200? Yeah, solid price. I'm just looking at it now. What else did I see who's going? Ben Kindle is going for a little bit more than I thought, but I actually think that For release day, it's appropriate, $60. I think he was slept on as one of the, kind of secondary chases in this product. Ben Kindle, rookie for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's selling in the 50-60 range. Not that I think he's worth 50-60, but I do think that he is one of those kind of slept on guys. So if you pull one, just know he's not some random scrub Penguin. There's some value here to Ben Kindle, Young Guns. All right. Moving on from Series 2, get into some more kind of NHL talk and general NHL discussion with obviously the hobby being put into this trade chatter as well. But we got the NHL trade deadline tomorrow, Anthony. Overall, like card market aside, we'll get to that portion of things in a moment. What are you expecting as a hockey fan at the deadline tomorrow?
I'm expecting a lot, man. I expect a massive day. And I feel like every year I always expect a massive trade deadline day, but I think there's going to be a lot of moves in the NHL. Actually, at time of recording, it seems like Darren Dreger has reported that Warren Fogle on his way to Ottawa. So didn't really have that one on my radar, hoping for more Leafs trades. But man, I think the Leafs are going to make a lot of moves yesterday. I know I've been kind of listening to what you'd have to say on my drive home, the over 2.5, over 3.5. I'm slamming the over 4.5 trades for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that Tree Living's been kicking tires for too long now, and a lot of people are going to be coming after some of the key names for the Leafs. So that's what I expect for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to be pretty busy too. They already made one trade, Nick Leroy going from Toronto to the Colorado Avalanche to pick up a first-round pick. But with the Leafs going into seller mode, I'm curious if you think that'll have an impact on the market. Like we've kind of already seen this year, Matthews not all that desirable. You don't see anyone walking around at shows asking for Matthews stuff anymore. Nylander, even Nyes, has taken a hit over the course of the last couple of months. And with Easton Cowan coming out, we're seeing what his pricing is. Like, how concerned do you think Leaf collectors should be about the value of their collection if they continue to sell off pieces and head into a bit of a retool, rebuild thing here?
I definitely think that if you are a big Leafs collector, you have big Toronto Maple Leafs cards, it's probably time to prepare for a 6-month slide leading into September and ultimately the start of the next season. I can't see any Maple Leafs players holding any value. I mean, it's been a tough year for Austin Matthews. I don't even think he's going to hit 40 goals, which obviously people were expecting even more from him at the start of the season. But it's one of those things where you kind of need to take it with a grain of salt, and we kind of complain all the time as collectors in the hobby saying, these people succeed, but their prices aren't really reflecting and their market isn't reflecting performance. Well, this is one of those scenarios where I think for the next 2 months, the performance of the Toronto Maple Leafs is going to kind of bring that market reflection. It's going to be alarming. So if you're in it, be in it for the long haul, because I think the Leafs are going to bounce back next season. That's what I'm hoping for.
Could be a buying summer for Maple Leafs, though. Could be a time
to our market.
You're a Matthews PC or a Nylander's PC. You got a nice PC on the way. Might be a good time to go pick up some of those big cards. You're looking for a Future Watch Auto, looking for a Cup RPA, possibly a flop, an exquisite. Might be a good summer to dive into that market too. So an opportunity maybe for collectors to get some cards to add to their collection on the cheap. Like you put the investing side of things on hold for a second, and could be good for Leaf collectors at the very least. Although their overall collection is losing value, they can add to it with some other bigger cards that are decreasing. And so a little bit of love on both sides here, right? Yeah, 6-7, right? Take the good with the bad. All right, so there's a bunch of names out there on the on these NHL trade bait boards, and we're gonna play a little NHL trade deadline matchmaker. So we've both picked 3 players who we think are going to be on the move at the deadline, and we've picked a team that we think they fit very well. So we'll kind of discuss why we chose the player, the team with the fit, and then the hobby impact of that trade if it were to happen, based on the team and what we expect of their market and of that whole trade moving forward. So we'll kick things off here, Anthony. Give me one of the players who you've chosen for your deadline matchmaker.
Yeah, so first player for me, it's got to be hometown boy Shane Wright. I'm hoping that he can make his way to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not saying it's likely. I don't think it's going to happen, but
Oh.
I think it would be a really good bit of business for Brad Treliving to do. I know, people don't know if they're rebuild, retool, whatever there's so many different words that people love to use. I'm going to call it retool mode for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think Shane Wright, you put him in the system to end the season, get a big offseason, and then start pushing for a cup next year. He needs a change of scenery. And I think that him coming to the Toronto Maple Leafs, get John Tavares on that third line, get Shane Wright on that second line, and he could be pretty powerful for that team.
It'd be an interesting swap. Would be interesting. I think a guy who could definitely use a change of scenery. And Toronto does need a future second line center. So, can Shane Wright become that in a new environment? Possibly. I like the fit. That'd be great for his market, though. Let me tell you. If he comes to Toronto, you can get his stuff so dirt cheaper. I think his PSA 10s are like $60, $70.
Yeah, $50.
Those will double if he gets traded to Toronto in the next 24 hours. I can almost guarantee it. Yeah, there'll be a nice uptick in that pricing. A player that I've got ready to get dealt at the deadline here is kind of the big fish, and there's been a lot of smoke around him. But Robert Thomas of the St. Louis Blues, very cheap market for him right now. You can get PSA 10 Young Guns for like $70. You can get raw Future Watch autos for under $100 for a star player like Robert Thomas. But it's a struggling Blues team, and it's a market that just doesn't seem to get a whole lot of love. I think he gets dealt, and I like the Carolina Hurricanes as a good fit for him. I think the Hurricanes have kind of long needed another guy to go along with Sebastian Aho down the middle, and if they can get themselves Robert Thomas, I think that could make them the front runners in the East. And if he can end up on the Carolina Hurricanes, go on a long playoff run, be on a quality team like Carolina, I think he could put up some points, plays a good two-way game, which is what's mandatory of guys who play in Carolina. I think it could be a great fit. I think we'll see a market bump if that were to happen for two reasons. One, I think that Carolina is a better team, but also I expect them to go on a long playoff run. So you get that playoff push if you're Robert Thomas in Carolina. So I like that as one of my trades for my deadline matchmaker.
Yeah, I definitely think that a team like Carolina has no reason not to go all in this year. I mean, it's a pretty weak Eastern Conference, and I think that Robert Thomas, like you said, imagine a Sebastian Aho on the first line, Robert Thomas on the second. Like, it would be a very strong depth for centers for the Carolina Hurricanes. I kind of had a similar idea. I was thinking that Carolina would take a stab at someone like Robert Thomas. I kind of was even thinking Bobby McMahon as well, but I put Robert Thomas with the Chicago Blackhawks. And all week I've been kind of thinking and debating where would be the perfect match for a couple players. And I don't know, just throwing it in the notes app just to see how well I can predict it. But I keep coming back to the idea that Connor Bedard needs someone for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Obviously, Robert Thomas, a very talented center on contract for the next 5 years. I could definitely see the Chicago Blackhawks making a trade for a player that wouldn't help them this year, but would help their franchise 3, 4 years down the road. I even thought Utah would be a good match for Robert Thomas, but I got Robert Thomas hopefully heading to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Interesting. So far, like, you got all these players going to selling teams, like, where you're hoping that the sellers are going to be buyers at the deadline here.
Dude, I am a huge fan of the retool on the fly, like what Washington did a couple years ago. I just think it's awesome.
Boston, I mean,
Boston's in the middle of it right now. I mean, yep.
Fake Boston fan watching it unfold. This guy, fake Boston fan. I pulled a Jacob Perreault rookie the other day, by the way. I'm going to send it to you. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you. Awesome. Next player I got here, Bobby McMahon. Great fit. The Dallas Stars. I think the Dallas Stars are a good fit. Do we got breaking news? Are you giving me the finger because there's breaking news?
There's breaking news. Former Leaf Michael Bunting is going to the Dallas Stars.
Oh, well, maybe they don't go and get Bobby McMahon then.
All right, I wanted to cut you off because I was like, maybe not. Maybe it's gonna happen.
That's tough. Yeah, I guess they go with Michael Bunting instead of Bobby McMahon. I bet you Bunting's a lot cheaper. Although I still think that McMahon fills a need more in your top 9. Like Michael Bunting's a decent player, but there's definitely flaws there. I think McMahon's a better player than Bunting, but I'd be surprised. The 3rd round pick, is that the deal is? Yeah, see, I mean, Bunting for a 3rd, sounds like the Leafs are trying to get a first out of McMahon. Yeah, you probably make that deal, I guess, for Dallas. That's interesting. Now on the fly, I got to think of a new spot. I thought that would be a perfect spot. See, I knew they were in the market for a top 9 winger. I was on the right path for what Dallas was looking for, but obviously they opt to go in a different direction. I mean, what about the Seattle Kraken or maybe the Anaheim Ducks as 2 teams who I think could still use a top 9 player? I mean, you talk about, Shane Wright, could he end up in Toronto? Well, what if Bobby McMahon is part of the package that gets it done? Like at least Bob McMahon can go over there and, he's a 20-goal scorer. He plays with good speed. He's got good size, can play top 9. I'm not suggesting a 1-for-1, by the way. There's clearly some other aspects that would have to be involved, but the Seattle Kraken, a team that could be looking to take that next step. McMahon might be interesting. How about the Pittsburgh Penguins? Right? Yeah, Kyle Dubas. I mean, he found Bobby McMahon as an undrafted free agent. He came up through the Marley system, he knows a lot about that player. That's another team that could definitely use a top 9 forward addition. So I think there's a few different squads. If Dallas is off the table, there's still a couple of teams out there that could grab Bobby McMahon. And I don't know if it'd be good for his market, though. That's why I think Bobby McMahon, like I've got a PSA 10 McMahon Young Guns right now. And I'm kind of worried that's going to take a bit of a hit because wherever he ends up, I had a little bit of hope that he could end up in Edmonton, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore after the deals that they've made. You had hope, okay, maybe he gets on a line with Draisaitl, maybe on a line with McDavid, could potentially see him put up some big numbers. Maybe that works out. But now if he ends up with one of these other teams that I've just kind of gone through, I don't know if that's great for his market at the end of the day.
Yeah, I definitely can see a situation. I mean, besides him getting traded to Montreal, which I don't have those 2 teams or that player and team linked at all, him getting traded for the Toronto Maple Leafs is terrible for his market. Like I could see Bobby McMahon 10s going down to like $30-$40 depending on where he goes to. But I kind of hope he stays a Leaf. I like Bobby McMahon, fastest player in the NHL. So we'll see. Depending on what they get.
Yeah. All right, you got one more player for us?
Yeah, you know what? I think this guy needs a change, Elias Pettersson, and I think it would be a slam dunk for him to head to Montreal. We've seen what people have done when he's playing well. I think we've seen what happens when people get moved to Montreal. I think it would be a good mix. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Elias Pettersson because I don't think Vancouver's given up on him just yet, but I think that would be one of the most interesting scenarios out of everything that I've, predicted so far.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That's for sure. I still believe that he can find his game. Maybe not get back to being exactly the top player he was a couple of years ago, but he can get back to being an impact, top 6 piece, top line piece at that. And boy, wouldn't that be something like that? The Canadiens roster, like they're looking for another centerman to pair with Nick Suzuki. If you can make that Elias Pettersson, you're in a real good spot. So that's an interesting player. Funny enough, the player that I have on my final list of trade deadline matchmaker is also I've matched with the Montreal Canadiens, but it's not Elias Pettersson, Nazem Kadri. I think Nazem Kadri. There's been a lot of smoke about Kadri to the Canadiens dating back to like the summer, and the contract is obviously the big holdup, and like his age at this point, like that's a bit of a younger group. Is that going to mix well? But at the end of the day, I still think that Nazem Kadri is a big time addition if the Montreal Canadiens can pull that off. And it's the type of player that they need, someone with a little bit of snarl. And he's got a couple already. Got one back when he was with the Colorado Avalanche, so you know that he can be a playoff performer. His days of getting suspended are behind him apparently in the postseason to the dismay of many Leaf fans. But I think that Kadri to the Canadiens has some serious legs, and if that happens, again, his market will explode. We saw what happened when Patrick Laine got dealt to the Montreal Canadiens in that market and how well he did there. Kadri, I think, same thing. His young guns, his RPAs, his future watches. I think that you'll start to see those things start to pop off and see those escalate massively. So I think Kadri, if he ends up in Montreal, could be massive for his market.
Oh, anyone that ends up in Montreal would just be huge. My prediction when I was writing it down for Kadri was Tampa Bay. I was even thinking a reunion in Colorado too, but I think that'd be pretty big.
I thought Colorado, and then they traded for Nick Watt earlier today. So
right.
I don't know about that anymore. I don't know if that's still on the table. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, another 24 hours. Let us know down below your NHL trade deadline matchmakers. Curious to get your thoughts. All right, really quickly, you did an Olympic market check-in on the 3 players that really exploded on the scene after the American Golden Goal was scored. Both Jack Hughes saw his market explode. Connor Hellebuck saw a nice boom, and Matthew Boldy as well actually is starting to see a lot of love too for the play that he had opening the scoring for the Americans. And what are the markets looking like for those guys? They still staying up there? Are they still holding strong? Or are they starting to retread a little bit?
Yeah, so couple cards that are sticking around to what they were selling for right after the Golden Goal, but little check-in here. Jack Hughes Young Guns PSA 10s selling for around $300. So, I mean, even before the goal, 220 we were seeing at the Mini Expo, up to 240. So obviously a little bit of an increase, but not as crazy as 400, 500 that we were seeing after the goal. And then his Future Watch Auto Raw up to $800. So sticking to what it was after the Golden Goal. And then a really big sale, actually, just the other day, his Cup RPA out of $999, 3-color, went for $7,000. So some big sales for Jack Hughes stuff recently.
Just goes to show, guys, if you go and you get the big cards, more likely it's going to work out for you. Like the PSA 10. Keep in mind, Jack Hughes PSA 10, like there's no other hockey card with more PSA 10s than the Jack Hughes Young Guns. So, the scarcity is not there for his Future Watches and his Cup RPAs. The scarcity is there. So when there's a lot of demand, there's a low supply, those cards are going to be the ones that drive up the price and keep it high ahead of time. So just a reminder why buying the big cards sometimes is better than buying the overprinted Young Guns and other rookie variations that aren't low numbered and aren't rare at all. Connor Hellebuck and Matt Boldy, what about their markets?
Yeah, so Connor Hellebuck was someone that obviously had one of the best games in Olympic history. His prices had a massive increase, but almost down to half of what they were going for. Young Guns PSA 10, $250, and his Cup RPA, $600, depending on the patch, obviously, varying in price. But Connor Hellebuck PSA 10s, I thought that those were way too expensive at $400 or $500. But even now, $260, I think that's pretty easy to find them around. I know people have them, and a pretty good price, honestly, for one of the best goaltenders in the league. And then surprisingly enough, I texted you guys too about this, but Matt Boldy, I had no idea how expensive his stuff was. $350 for a PSA 10, $225 for a Future Watch Auto Raw. Not as much of an increase, but man, Matt Boldy PSA 10s were going for like $120 in the summer. So that is crazy.
No.
All day, man. All day, $120.
Wow, that's cheap. I didn't see him out there. Like 180, 170, maybe. 120 seems a little cheap. I don't know where you're shopping at Dollarama or whatever. But either way, yeah, his market's exploded, and he's having a great season. The Winnipeg or the Minnesota Wild, they're in a good spot. Seems like they could go on a run if they can make it through that gauntlet of a Central Division. But like, there's a lot of hype behind Matt Boldy being, another top American star moving forward. So, yeah, it makes sense. Matt Boldy, another young stud in the hobby. Another one of those good players from that sneaky 22-23 rookie class from Upper Deck. All right, I think that's going to do it for us here today. You got any shows coming up this weekend?
I think Collecticon on Sunday. That's going to be the one I'm walking around. I'm thinking.
I might be setting up. There. Our boy Brandon said he's got half a table for me if I want to take it. So might be setting up at Collecticon. If you see us, say what up. We'll have some stickers for the show out there as well. So come say hi, come grab a sticker, and that'd be greatly appreciated. Got the Evolution Sports Card Show in Aurora on Saturday as well. So yeah, still a couple of shows and it's always a lot of fun. The first show after a flagship release, so I'll be curious to see what the market is for a lot of these cards in the showcases just a few days after the release of Series 2. All right, good luck with your box if you get a hold of it somehow. I know I got 2 more waiting for me that I got to go grab tomorrow morning. But that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube, and you can also find the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We got new episodes coming out each and every week. We'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven Podcast.